Have you been feeling like you're standing in the hallway between your old life and the one that hasn't fully arrived yet? Or that version of you that you know that you're working towards, but you don't quite know it yet? Well, this episode is for you. If you've been feeling lost, unmotivated, or like nothing quite fits anymore, you're not broken. You're in what I call the void. Let's talk about what that really means and how to hold yourself in it with grace, softness, and that incredible energy that you are as you ascend to higher versions of yourself. Welcome to Intuitive Mind Lab Radio, where science meets spirituality and unravels the mysteries of the mind and the universe. I'm your host, Lindsay Goodwin, a self-mastery mentor, born intuitive medium, and licensed health provider with a knack for blending neuroscience with the touch of the cosmic. This radio show skips the small talk and dives straight into the big, impactful energies. You're in the right place if you're a growth-minded, science-loving, wellness enthusiast, or a spiritual seeker ready to kick limiting beliefs to the curb. I've got you covered, from self-mastery tips to deep dives into manifestation and the esoteric. Buckle up because we're about to upgrade your mind and master your life. Welcome to Intuitive Mind Lab Radio. Hello, and welcome back to Intuitive Mind Lab Radio. I am so glad that you are here with me for yet another empowering episode. Today, we are going to be talking about something that's really powerful in this short episode, and that is about when your old life stops fitting, but your new one really hasn't arrived yet. And I call this fitting into the new outfit. So I will use fun little analogies like fitting into that new hot pink hot suit. Yeah, that's fun, right? That's so much fun. Well, that's kind of like what it's like. And the reason why I say hot suit, like the hot pink hot suit, is because that's what it feels like when you're trying to fit into that new life. It feels like you're walking around in something that everyone is staring at you. And so it can be really intimidating. That's what it feels like. No one's actually literally staring at you. Most people don't even care about what's going on in your life, to be completely honest with you. But we think that they care. But it's really that we care. And so I like to use those extreme sort of analogies. Another one is that once you've been awakened, I often hear people say, well, I'm afraid that I'll go back to my old life. No, you won't. I know that's raw, but that is what this is like, is that you're not ever going to go back once you're awakened to what you knew before. So don't ever be afraid of that. But can you revert back and forth between the old you and the new you? Yes, we can definitely teeter back and forth. So I don't ever want you to feel like you're not growing because you might have a day where you're back into some of those old patterns. It just means that you're learning to grow into that beautiful hot pink hot suit or whatever it is that you feel resonates with you. But when we use analogies like putting on new outfits, it's easier for people to understand, or maybe it makes sense to think about driving around in a new car, in a new shiny car, or something like that, because symbolically, car symbolizes new life, new movement forward, taking you somewhere. And you don't have to buy a brand new car for that. But I am so excited again that you're here for this short episode. And so kind of just diving in here at the very beginning about what this is going to be about. And I don't want you to feel that you're somehow weird, Talk about that. Like, I guess us spiritually awake people are weird. We're weird to the rest of the world because we think differently. And I had a conversation with a client yesterday about human design. I'm very into human design, and I'm a mental projector, which is less than 1% of the population. So I've always been very, I guess, the weird, the weird kid. It took me a long time to be okay with that. So if you are someone that is a projector, whether you're a mental projector or the other two projectors, we're less than, as total group of projectors, we're less than 20% of the population. And we really do come off as kind of having this strange sort of energy. And the reason why is because our perspective is completely different than the rest of the population. And we're really here to help change the perspective of the human consciousness. So we're here awakening the human consciousness to another vibe. And I really don't want to make this episode about human design, but just kind of just connecting with a conversation that I had with a client yesterday about how we can feel so strange if you even if you're not a projector, you're having a spiritual awakening, you're jumping timelines and you're collapsing timelines, and you're really awakening and have moved away from the 3D, and you might be in between 4 and 5D, although I have to say that you can go from 3D to 4D to 5D all in one day. And there are higher dimensions than just 5D. I know everyone talks about 5D, but you can get to higher dimensions than that through consciousness. I have experienced it, but it is interesting how we can jump around in consciousness, really thinking about that this awakening is so sacred, but can feel so uncomfortable. Your identity is really being stripped of the space where everything you thought you were doesn't fit anymore. That is so powerful and can be so overwhelming at the same time. The old life, your job, your relationships, your routines, they can feel so foreign. But the new life, it just really hasn't arrived yet. And it just feels so strange to be in that place of void. And I want you to know that you are not alone. Please, please, please know that you are not alone. There are so many of us that are experiencing this right now. And I will say that the more you move into that unknown place, the more that you are going to meet your people. It just is part of the transformation, because you have to get away from what no longer aligns with you. And this place, like I said, it's really where that void is beginning. And it's just not who you used to be. But you are not yet becoming this version of yourself that you are working towards. And I have to state, we often think of that it's something new. It's not new. It's what you've always been. It's just that you forgot. And that's the power of this human experience is that we come here to remember who we truly are and what we've always been. It's called the human amnesia. So it's not really a new you, it's the real you, which is really powerful. And let me just be completely honest with you about this void, this space. This space can feel like absolute hell if you don't understand it. And also, speaking of hell, it's just a state of mind, by the way. It's not really a place that exists where you burn in fire. There are people walking all over the 3D reality that are living in hell because of the way that they choose to think. And it's all kinds of people. Anyone that is judging someone else or is mean or like, it's basically what it is it's an energy of separation. That's what hell is. It's an energy of separation. It's living in your trauma. It is narcissistic energy is hell. It's projecting on other people. So, not to get into that too much, but just giving you some ideas. And if you're listening to this, you probably are very aware of what I'm talking about. But you might feel like nothing in your life is working during this time when you are moving into this more awakened version of you that it's always been there. You just forgot it was there. So as you're in this place of remembering, it can feel so quiet, like no one around you understands you. You don't have anyone to connect with. And I promise you that those people are going to start showing up. Your people are going to start showing up. You cannot give up. You cannot give up, because it's just that you're working to be in alignment with them. They can't see you yet because you're working to be in that alignment, on that same frequency as where they're at. And this isn't punishment. This is incredible, incredible abundance. Because to be able to know who you truly are and be who you truly are is the most abundant and wealth that you can possibly ever have. So all this external sort of 3D reality, 3D, and you're never going to fully escape the 3D reality, by the way, because you're having a human experience, which means that your body is a 3D figure. So you're never going to fully, when you're human, you're not going to escape that. So that's not what it's about. It's about being able to be in the human experience and be in a 5D consciousness. It's not that you're going to another planet, although you can in deep states of consciousness. I've done it many times. It's about you being in a different frequency, and a different frequency and dimension are two different things. But frequency is the energy that's aligning you with the different dimension. Okay. So dimension is just consciousness. It's a state of consciousness. So your neighbor, for example, could be in a 3D state of consciousness. So maybe they haven't risen to the 5D, but they're still around you. You just don't ever interact with them because you're at a different frequency or at a different state of consciousness, okay? So it's not like we go anywhere. It's that we are just in a different, we're in a different place in our consciousness, okay? So that's what you're working towards, is aligning with the people that are in that state of consciousness, in that higher state of consciousness, of mind power, because everything is in your mind. Everything, your power is in your mind, which is your consciousness, not your human mind, your spiritual mind, your awakened mind. And this is the integration. This is your soul dissolving what's false and outdated and performative when you start to connect with that awakened version of you, which is your spiritual mind, not your human mind. We use our human mind when we need to, but it's learning that that's not you. You're not the patterning. You're not the old stuff. You're this new version, which is not really new. It's just your awakening. It feels new to you, but it's not really new. You're awakening to this version of you that's always been there. You just forgot. Okay. So I want you to think about this. You can step into this new life that's built on truth and not survival. You are learning to not be in survival mode. That is a huge part of this. And so much of the world is still in survival. They're in their lower chakras, okay? You're not. You're moving into the higher chakras, which is the higher mind, okay? So you're really connecting. You've healed. That's what you're going through right now, is you've healed, or maybe you're past that. You've healed the lower chakras. You've healed the ancestral trauma. You've healed that lower frequency trauma. Okay. And I have to say, I talk about spiritual narcissism all the time. I'm on a path to help people recognize that. I have come across so many fake people, and I'm sure you feel it too. And the more in alignment you are with your truth, the more you are going to recognize fake. It's just the way it is. And it's learning to transmute that energy and not be bitter about it, but recognize it and say, that's not for me. And it's all over the place, okay? And there are so many people, especially in the healing community, that have not done the lower chakra work. They just want to be up in those higher chakras. They want to have the identity of being the spiritual healer. You cannot bypass the work. I see it all over people all the time, and I do not judge them. I just an observation of that's not for me. I wish you well. That is not for me. And that's what I want you to do. But I want you to be aware of it as you're continuing to awaken. And I believe that that's why a lot of people say the old saying, ignorance is bliss, which is so stupid. But I feel that that's why that saying exists, because people don't want to know the truth. Because if they know the truth, then that disrupts their lies and their minds of what they're living by. Okay, this work is not easy. And if it was easy, and I don't want to plant the seed that things need to be hard or, but I want you to also acknowledge that what you're doing, you're basically like pulling yourself through quicksand. You're in a world that doesn't understand what you're doing. Okay, they don't want to do the work, and they'll just reincarnate back into another physical body because here's the thing, the soul, which is separate from the human, we're having a human experience, but the soul wants to evolve. So if you're not going to evolve in a lifetime, you're just going to want to come back. You're going to want to come back. It is not that someone with a clipboard in the sky is going to say, you're going back. No, you're going to want to go back. So what the work that you're doing is so powerful, and I don't want you to feel like it's not worth it, because it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And we're moving into a new evolution of consciousness where people like us that have done the work and are truly awake are going to be so needed. And we already are, but you're going to keep seeing it open up, because the fake is being exposed and those masks are coming off and they're not going to be able to hide anymore. People are not going to be interested in that. And I'm already starting to see it. And AI is part of that. And I won't make this episode about AI, but I will tell you that I'm already starting to see it. There's a lot of people that are not going to have the attention that they've had because people are not going to be interested in what they have to say because they're fake. So I want you to know that the work you're doing is absolutely worth it. And please keep going. Keep listening to this podcast. I created Intuitive Mind Lab Radio to connect with my people, you, so that we can keep going because we have to. We have come into this existence. We are here to awaken our own. And I'm not saying that we're not all connected because we all are one. But there are so many people that are not going to listen to you. And you just have to leave them. You just have to let them be. You wish them well. You send them love. And you just let them be on their merry way because they're not a vibrational match for you. Okay? So this void is really teaching you, this void of when you feel that you're not fully in alignment with this new version of you or this awakened version of you that's always been there. You just forgot. It's really teaching you to be with yourself without these roles of the doing and the external validation. It's teaching you how to stay grounded without the distractions, how to feel safe when there's no next step yet. It's really stripping you down. So the next creation of your next becoming comes from alignment, not fear. So how do you hold yourself here? Well, you have to soften. You have to listen. You have to tune within. Turn your listening within. There's no one that has the answers but you. You have to stop fighting the pause. You have to stop asking, what do I need to do? And instead ask, what needs to be felt, seen, and released? That is the listening. It's not listening with your ears. It's listening with your intuition, your inner voice. You have to give yourself permission to rest, to cry, to unplug. You have to align yourself with calling in what it is that is meant for you rather than trying to produce. That's been something I really had to learn because many of us, I'm not going to say it's just something that is common with me, but many of us, I think it's common that we learn in society and the conditioning that you have to do, be productive. And that's how you have success or that's how you get acceptance. No, you have to align. You have to align with yourself, with your authenticity, with your inner truth, with who you are and all your uniqueness and beauty of you. And then you call in your manifestations. You call in your people. You call in your clients. You call in your soul partner, your new job, whatever it is. You call it in. You don't try to overproduce. That's not how this works. And this is what you're learning to do differently. And this void where your nervous system, it's learning what it really truly means to be safe and then not knowing. And I will tell you, I talk about this often, and I am writing a book about my near-death experience, but when I was robbed at gunpoint, I had nothing else but to trust. And in that experience, there was this beautiful gold light that wrapped me, and it was wrapping the entire room, including the person that had the gun to my back. And it was protecting all of us because it wasn't our time to go, and it was making sure that none of us got hurt. And it's very symbolic and literal, actually, that the universe had my back. I had a gun to my back. And I've had several spiritual awakenings. I have also had a stalking situation with someone that was very aggressive and obsessive. And I had to stand really strong to be able to put that person in their place. And I was the catalyst. I was the one that was meant to do that. And to really rise up in truth for those that are voiceless or feel that they're voiceless. And I knew that. And it was really hard to accept that. And I also feel that the robbery in some way was like that too, because there's many people out there, and maybe that's you, that have experienced violence or stalking or a near-death experience or robbed at gunpoint or whatever it is. Maybe you got into a car accident, you had a near-death experience, you died and you came back. And you're afraid to talk about it because you think people will think you're strange for talking about something that is considered to be, in a lot of people's eyes, crazy. But it's not crazy. You're not crazy if that happened to you. That's what we need to realize is that we need to speak up and share our stories. And that's why I talk about it, because I'm here to connect with you, with my people that need to hear my story so that you feel empowered to share your story. I'm all about community. I'm all about empowering each other so that we can all feel in alignment and with our amazingness of how we've been created, and remembering that you're just a version of yourself, of source energy or God experiencing itself through you. So you've been designed, just like if we talk about human design, you have been designed a certain way. And it really is your blueprint. And some of these experiences that you've had are actually here to help others. So we have to speak about this. We have to share our stories because there's someone that needs your story. And it's really powerful. And I just want you to trust that these spaces between these stories, that they're helping you become who you are. They're shaping, not really shaping, I shouldn't say, because you actually are just becoming what you've always been. You just forgot. And that's what these experiences are. And I promise that the next version of your life, your relationship, your business, your purpose, it's all coming. It's just listening to what's within. It's not resisting. It's allowing yourself to really awaken to that power that you already are and really fitting in to your favorite skin. And I go back to the hot pink hot suit or the new car. It's really fitting into you, not trying to fit into other people's molds or society's molds, but you. Who are you? And it's about you're not having to stay in this cocoon forever. It's just you're transforming. And like I said, I am here with you. And we are all in this together. And I never want you to feel alone. So keep tuning in. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for joining me. It's absolutely wonderful to bring you this content and to connect with you. And if you ever want to reach out or have an idea for an episode, something you want me to talk about or channel on air, please reach out. I am here for you. And I want you to know that you are doing so much better than you might think. And until next time, I'll see you on the next empowering episode of Intuitive Mind Lab Radio. Keep trusting those in-between spaces and knowing that you are awakening to the amazing magic that you have always been.